Devendra Pant, Chief Economist and Head Public Finance India Ratings, joins us right now on the show. Devendra, good having you. Thanks for joining in. With the rupee doing what it is doing, I'm reading a number of columns, hearing a number of experts speak about how the strengthening currency will pose a problem for the Reserve Bank because it also leads to slowing down of exports. My question is, if indeed the rupee is strengthening and if India is indeed a net importer, shouldn't it be music to the ears?
Yeah, see, it depends on which side of the debate you are in. Naturally, the exporter voice or exporter lobby will always go for a weak rupee. But having said that, how long we can benefit from the exports growth, which is coming solely because of the price advantage, or so to say by the weak rupee. You are right. A strong rupee, but it should not be very strong. A strong rupee will always help in not only in our current account situation, but at the same time, since a lot of intermediate and raw material goods are imported by India, which goes into the production process, it will help, or it will have some cooling effect to the inflation problem also. As your journalist was reporting, if you look, what is the problem with the inflation right now? It is a structural issue, structural problem with the economy, and the inflation has become a structural from a cyclical. That's why you see the core CPI is still hovering around 8% mark. So some of these things, a strengthening of the rupee will also have an impact on the inflation front, which according to us is the biggest macroeconomic challenge the economy is currently facing.
What did you make of the trade data also that came in on Friday evening, as well as the exports which have declined this time around? How is it that you're seeing the external demand for exports shaping up?
Well, the export, if we look in April, there was a mild increase and there was a decline in the import. So that there are stories on two sides. When we look at the export number, we look at what is happening to the global demand, which is still not very strong. But if we look at how the most of the economies are stabilizing, we are looking at the low growth phase in the US. We are looking at Eurozone somehow coming to a mild positive growth. So these two things have bodes well for Indian exports. On the import side, we have to look at it basically non-oil, non-gold import. And if we look at non-oil, non-gold import, there was massive restriction in last year, which represents nothing but the state of our domestic demand and how the IAP is behaving. There is some minor support which is there to the IAP growth, mainly coming from the export demand. Because when we see, if we imagine a situation when the exports growth was not there, we are looking at some 5%, 6%, 7% exports growth. Minus that, what would have been the contraction in IIP, rather than what we are talking about, almost flat on 0.2 or 0.3% point contraction in IIP, would have been staring at a larger number, maybe 1 percentage point contraction in IIP for whole year. So what is happening is one has to visualize, and let's go back to what has happened in 2003-4 to 2008-9. There were domestic policies which were conducive to growth. At the same time, the global economy was at its peak of its health, and what we were looking at, we were looking at 20 to 25% exports growth in dollar term. So both the domestic demand as well as the external demand provided support to the economy. And the one point, if we look, that was the time period when there was mild appreciation of the rupee vis-a-vis dollar. Despite the dollar strengthening, we were able to achieve significant exports growth, mainly because the external demand was good. Keeping this all together, what we are not looking at very significant growth in manufacturing for entire fiscal. So what we are looking at in all something around 1% or 1.5% growth in manufacturing sector. But the positive vibes which is coming, major positives are If you talk about the industry, which is if you
Sure.
going by CSO classification, it
Right.
is mining, manufacturing, electricity,
Right.
and construction. So the mining is providing support, electricity is providing support. So all in all, what we expect is
Right.
industry may be able to clock a growth of 4% in this fiscal.